So we can all be a little disheveled in the morning, right? Life gets the better of us. It happens to everyone. So this one particular morning, I was on my way to work. I am a high school teacher, and I did not have my breakfast, nor did I have my lunch. So there was a gas station nearby the school. So I decided to stop in at the gas station and grab some snacks. And typical for a gas station, there were two people outside asking for money, a man and a woman. And sometimes when I have it, I will give, but I don't carry cash a lot of the time, so sometimes not. But I go in, I purchase some snacks that have to get me through the day because, again, no breakfast, no lunch, irresponsible adulting for the day. But on my way out, I get stopped by, on my way into the gas station, I got stopped by the man who was asking for money. On the way out of the gas station, I got stopped by the woman. Sorry, I had to life real quick. But yeah, they want dignity, they want respect, and it goes against this piece of writing advice that I had received before, where someone has said that a character is just that, a character. So I'm sorry that I always relate back to anime, but just think of like anime character types. You will give a character a specific trait. Maybe they're like the determined idiot. Uh, I can't think of anybody's names right now. Hinata Haikyuu, determined idiot. And then you have to make that character and everything they do just fall into the realm of determined idiot. And this is actual writing advice that I've received before. But no, I will not. Because no one is constantly, for every decision of their life, going to be the determined idiot. You're going to change, you're going to grow, you're going to develop, you're going to be an entirely different person from when you talk to one person to when you talk to the next. When a student is talking to a teacher down the hall from me versus when they are talking to me, that is two entirely different students. Teachers experience this on the daily basis where one teacher will talk to another teacher. We're talking about the same exact kid, but we are so not talking about the same exact kid because the way that kid is in my room is way different than the way that kid is in your room. We change, we grow, we develop, we do all sorts of things. And until you fully understand that about human beings, until you fully watch the way that a human being lives and reacts, then you won't know the nuance in how to write that and making decisions and how somebody may say something that they didn't mean and then will double back and be like, I didn't mean to say that, but when I'm in front of this person, this new side of me comes out. These are all real things that cause people, when reading my books, to be like, I didn't know that is what I've been feeling this whole time, but that is what I've been feeling this whole time. There are people who connect with not just the main characters of Dante and Major, but connect with side characters because these characters are complex beings, because they have their own lives going on, because they have their own individual stories. And not every single one of their stories need to be played out in real time, but they as characters need to be respected as whole beings. And again, it sounds strange for someone to talk about like these fictional characters as real people, but when I know that a real human being is going to look at this character and be like, that's like me, I feel like it's now my responsibility to make sure that this character remains a whole being and not just a character type that is only going to make decisions that help my plot. They have to be rational or irrational. It's just a matter of seeing a human being and being real. So, teaching did not make me a better writer because I grade papers all the time or because I'm constantly reading the same books over and over again, meaning I can like deeply analyze these things. It's the way that I got the chance to observe people that made me a better writer. And seeing the way that students react to literature and to characters, this helped me to be a better writer. I'm Although there are students who read my books, I'm not like forcing all my students in like my real regular classroom to read my books. But we do read books. It's an English class. And seeing the way that students connect with characters, connect with ideas, these show that like they are paying attention. They are listening. They want to make those connections. And to see the other disappointment in them when they realize that the character is no more than just a character type and they can't move past that small box that the author put them in because they want them to be more. They want them to feel more like real people, but they don't always get that. So, the the way that being in the classroom also helps is again the understanding of what happens that makes somebody make decisions that they do instead of just wondering about the decision that they made. There's this level of empathy that real people have for characters when the characters feel real. And you, as the author, you should want them to be able to make that connection, right? You should want them to feel a part of the story. Because the stories, they help to share what is really happening and to make sense of the emotions behind it. I was writing that moment with Major and his mother not because I know somebody who was going through it. I was writing it because this is a real character who's going through real things. And then I'd seen how it was real. And I didn't have to like go back and know to take this seriously. It's just something that I already knew. But if you are a writer and you are putting like characters through these traumas and you're just like laughing it off and just not taking it seriously and making them respond in these ways that are inhumane, think about if a reader who's been through that same trauma read your book. How would they feel seeing someone in their same situation react the way you had them react? Because everyone's not a stereotype. Most of us aren't. There's a lot of nuance, so much gray area inside, and you have to make sure you have these thoughts, these emotions that lie with them. I'm gonna wrap it up here. But I do think that being a teacher has made me a better writer. Tomorrow I'll talk about how being a writer has made me a better teacher. And just remember that although our characters are fake, to a lot of people they feel real. So, to you especially, as the author, you should want to make them feel real. Just keep that in mind for your inner monologue, and I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, you will too. And this was a like spirit day situation. Like, I think we had a pep rally that day, so I was pretty much decked out in the school gear, head to toe. And the woman had stopped and asked, "Do you go to this one school?" And I know that I can look fairly young from time to time. People assume that I'm a student, and also students can look fairly old. Um, so I let her assume that I was a student and said, "Oh, yes, I go yada yada yada," because it's more difficult to find a student that goes to yada 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 than it is to find a teacher that goes to yada yada yada. So let them believe that. But then she had said, "Oh, my kid goes there," and had said the name of their kid and had asked, "Do you know them?" And the truth is that, yes, I did know their kid. I knew their kid very well, actually. You see, their kid was a student who would come to my room quite frequently, who had grown very close to me, who would share a lot of things with me. But this was not something that they had shared. I knew the student lived with their father. I knew the student had a complicated relationship with their mother. I did not know that their mother would be the kind of mother who was standing outside of a gas station asking for money and still proudly saying the name of their child. So I gave her the couple of spare dollars I keep in my car for gas and went on my way and took the 3-minute drive up the street to let out a couple of tears because this was just another moment that made me see that us writers, we're not just writing fiction. That these are people's lives. And although it may seem fake, what you put out there can truly reflect and represent what real people are going through. You see, this had hit me in a strange way because at the same time that this is going on, I was currently writing a couple of chapters that focused in on a very particular issue in the third Blue Lights book that I am currently writing, right? And in the book, one of the main characters, Major, who no longer lives with his mother, who he has a complicated relationship with, he no longer lives there. But she lives 2 doors down, or lived 2 doors down, because he notices that she has been getting evicted, that she has been evicted. all their items have been put out on the street or are being put out on the street, and no one knows where she went. And I was just beginning the chapter in which he does see her again, and he sees her standing, not standing, but sitting on the ground outside of a gas station asking people for money. And as I was writing this in the realm of fiction, at the same time in the real world, this is happening. This is someone's life. This is real. And it made me, it didn't, I'm not going to say it made me realize, but it emphasized the matter of how important it is to treat these characters like real people. I know it can be this like ongoing joke about authors and what they do to their fictional characters, and they'll like brutalize them or make them make these crazy decisions all for the sake of plot. But even though it's fake, real people see themselves in these characters. And the way that we represent them, the way that we represent these complicated emotions, truly does have an effect on people. I've been asked before if teaching has made me a better writer. And I would say yes. Not for the matter of I spend all day analyzing literature, not for the matter of seeing different writing styles, not for the matter of I have like 100 different stories every day walking into my world to like steal from, because I'm not doing that. Again, I was already writing this scene when it played out in real life. But I think what allows me to become a better writer as a teacher is the matter of being able to see people as whole, complicated beings. Everyone everyone has a life outside of the life that they share with you. And it's all so much more complicated than you could imagine. I feel like we kind of had like this epidemic of like main character syndrome going on, where everyone thinks that everything is about them, for them, things of that nature, and it's not. Everyone has everything going on as well. And to be able to see this, to be able to witness someone walk into a room, one feeling one way, and morph into something entirely different inside of that space, just goes to show that no one is one dimensional, that no one reacts to the same situations the same way. And it just goes to show the kinds of relationships that can form and what truly lies behind those relationships. when I create characters, when they are like moving through the world that I create for them, they feel real and I treat them as though they are real. And what do real people want? They want dignity and respect. And